Hey, what's up, everybody? The V Club here, coming at you with another video here. I know, the Villain Club, right? The VC. That's right. It's about anything and everything. Nothing's off the table. I'm always off the cuff. That's what I'm talking about. Alright, so, like I said, about anything and everything. And, all voices are welcome. It's just common sense is all I'm really talking about here. Alright, so without further ado, I'm on YouTube, by the way, and I'm also on Rumble. Whichever way is more convenient for you to find me, I'm always grateful for that. So with that, let's get to it now, alright? So, we look around, we see all this stuff that's going on, right? You look at this Mahmoud Khalil dude, the guy that incited all that stuff at Columbia University for Hamas support and, free Palestine and all this other stuff. It says here that the Fed said that he had ties to the UN RWA on his green card application. Well, you know what that means. People always try to deceive their way to take advantage of our system. And it's just wrong. So let's take a look at this.
Detained Columbia University protester Mahmoud Khalil is facing new allegations that could bolster the federal government's case to deport him, including claims he lied about his ties to a controversial UN agency stripped of funding over Hamas connections. In new court filings, the Department of Justice says Khalil failed to disclose his work with the UN Relief and Works Agency for Palestine Refugees, or UNRWA, on his immigration paperwork, a group that lost federal funding after reports some members took part in the October 7th Hamas attack on Israel. Khalil worked as a political affairs officer with UNRWA between June and November 2023. Officials say he also didn't disclose a prior position at the British Embassy in Lebanon or his involvement in the anti-Israel group Columbia University Apartheid Divest. Khalil, a Syrian-born green card holder of Palestinian descent and Algerian citizenship, was arrested March 8th in New York by ICE agents. He's now being held in a Louisiana immigration detention center. The feds argue these omissions are enough to warrant deportation, calling his First Amendment defense a red herring. Khalil's lawyers say the charges are meritless and insist the case is really about his pro-Palestinian activism. Khalil first came to the U.S. in 2022 on a student visa to pursue.
It's more than just pro-Palestinian activism. It's pro-Hamas activism and inciting the protest, the violence, I guess you could say, not really destruction, but it's just he's inciting these things. And it's anti-U.S. To me, that's enough to kick him out of here because he doesn't appreciate being here and that, he's still a guest in our country.
A master's degree at Columbia. He later applied for permanent residency after marrying an American citizen who is now 8 months pregnant. In addition to fighting deportation, Khalil is suing Columbia University, Bernard College, and a House committee chairman to block the release of disciplinary records related to campus protests. For more stories just like these, be sure to subscribe to the New York Post right here on YouTube.
New York Post, man, has been on it. I like what they've been delivering. They deliver some good stuff. And, they've been doing good, though. I like what they've been doing. So, let's see here. So we have that. I could dive into this. Crockett delivers jaw-dropping insult targeting Governor Abbott. All right, so Democrats are looking for a face, someone to step up and be the face of the Democrat Party because they've just unraveled themselves. And so, people like Jasmine Crockett, who's garbage and full of shit. And she's just like one of those other politicians and former politicians like, what's his name? Jamal Bowman that got voted out of office. They're always race baiting and all this other stuff. And it's always convenient to claim one thing and then, claim another when it comes to race baiting and all this stuff to make accusations and claims, all to prop themselves up for publicity is what it is.
Texas Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett appears to be desperately trying to capture her party spotlight.
They're like getting
even
attention.
if it means turning up the rhetoric against Republicans. It's a far cry from her comments before the election when she swore that Democrats would never, ever do this.
Democrats have never endorsed political violence, but he will go to a rally and he will endorse it.
Yeah, you're talking about never endorse political violence. What's Antifa? What's BLM? Right? Those are two great examples of violence that they support. Right? And the campus protest. Right? It's a little bit of violence, but it's anti-Semitism. Right? So don't bust me with some bullshit, bitch.
This is the equivalent of playing with a loaded gun and then it backfiring on you.
Just a few months later, here she is appearing to egg on some of the agitators against Elon Musk.
I am truly here for very selfish reasons. Starting with on March 29th, it's my birthday. And all I want to see happen on my birthday is for Elon to be taken down. Yes, we are fighting for our country. We're fighting for democracy. We're fighting for our freedoms. And when I say fighting, I'm saying that figuratively. Obviously, everything that I am promoting is nonviolent.
And now she claims Democrats need to punch their opponents.
How do you win elections in Texas as a Democrat? What do you do?
I think that you punch. I think you punch. I think you're okay with you okay with punching. I think, and I love Colin, and I think towards the end he started to punch a little harder. But it's Ted Cruz. I mean, this dude has to be knocked over the head, hard, right?
I mean, Steve, to just choose
You
the
need to
verb
get bitch
punch,
slapped. How about that?
and then knock over the head. It's interesting language choice.
Of course.
Yeah,
and,
how about
but
some bitch slap
you can
for her?
see
Just give her a
that
bitch
this,
slap.
for her, is working, right? This kind of
I'll call it out, I
amping
don't
it
care.
up and some of the comments we're seeing, and it gets more and more over the top, lower and lower, frankly. But this is what they seem to want in the Democratic Party now. They want this kind of rhetoric. They want this kind of attitude. I don't think it's helping them at all, but it's helping lift the profile of people like Jasmine Crockett.
It's a great point because some Democrats say they want to fight. It may be a figurative fight, but she's given them maybe a literal one. I don't know. Kennedy, there was this moment of Jasmine Crockett. I think this is probably the most shameful bite we're going to play. Listen to how she talks about Governor Greg Abbott of Texas, who I would remind everyone is in a wheelchair.
Y'all know we got Governor Hot Wheels down there. Come on now. And the only thing hot about him is that he is a hot mess, honey. So yes.
I don't know what her intent was with that, but I find that to be a disgrace.
No, she's trying to.
Yeah, but if it's flipped the other way around, if Republicans were to ever cross the line to insult someone that's a handicap or any of this other stuff, oh man, it's so bad, right? So yeah, when the Republicans do something like that, I'm sure Democrats would be all over it, right? But when they do it, it's okay, right? So no, that's not how it works. I mean, Democrats are supposedly pro all these things, right, for the people, but they're not. It's only what's convenient for them.
To demean the governor in order to score cheap political points. She's an attention whore. And it's annoying. So when you are void of ideas, you ramp up the rhetoric. I mean, how incredible would she be if she actually laid out an economic plan for the people in Texas, for her specific constituents, and for families across the country? She would be applauded. She would be celebrated. But instead, she's kind of at the bottom of the barrel. I don't like it when people in either party do it. She thinks she's doing it for cheap points, but it's not grounded in political philosophy, and I don't have a ton of respect for her.
It's interesting you bring up the ideology, political philosophy, and legislative ideas. She even admits she doesn't have those. Listen. Okay, we don't have it, Carly, but I have it in front of me.
Yeah.
So she says this. She
She
says on
says,
a Lone
I'm listening, I swear.
Star Politics interview, I should probably be a better politician and tell you, yes, we've got all this amazing legislation, and I can absolutely imagine Donald Trump signing it into law. Not going to lie, I think right now it's about preserving our basics and getting back to some norms. She goes on, no ideas, but she wants to preserve
She says,
norms.
right now, I could tell you that, unfortunately, I'm not working towards very much.
Yeah.
That's the next line that she
Yeah,
says.
I think we noticed.
And I also want to point out that according to the sign behind her, she was at a human rights campaign event, and she's openly making fun of a disabled person.
Yeah.
So just want to point.
That's some of the things that Democrats are, right? They don't like to do anything unless they have to do something, right? And other than that, they just kick back and really don't do anything. Look at Kamala. She didn't do a whole lot in 4 years as vice president. All of a sudden, she's campaigning, but barely campaigning, right? Did all these safe campaign stops, doing safe, when it came to, I guess, public
Point that one out.
speeches and things like that. But no, barely any sit-down interviews, so controlled. It was, again, very little work. When you see Trump putting in all the work to get himself out there, and so obviously who won?
As well. I was recently watching a social media video on how to get a toddler to stop screaming in public. And the advice was to speak really quietly to them because it kind of jars them, throws them off. Like, I thought you were going to scream too. So maybe I should, listen to what you're saying. And I bring that up because sometimes being the loudest in the room and screaming the most isn't the solution to your problem. That's what Jasmine Crockett is doing right now. Maybe the solution is doing something like what Chuck Schumer just did and made sure to not shut down the government. Or also the advice of James Carville, roll over and play dead, Democrat Party. Don't make all the headlines right now. Just watch and wait. And I think a majority of...
All right, so we get it. Jasmine Crockett is full of shit. She's a bitch. She's stupid. We get it. All right. This is something else that caught my attention. L.A. is facing a major deficit, right? Because not only that, it's exacerbated by the whole fire situation that happened, but just misspending, like they don't, when it comes to Democrats,
well, the state of
they don't know how to spend, right? They overspend, and when they overspend, they don't like to cut unless they have to cut, and then they still try to tax us to pay for their overspending. That's just what they do. And so they do, and then they like to fund all this bullshit. It's a sanctuary city, so they probably fund a lot of bullshit for illegals. They have a ton of homeless that they keep funding towards, and it doesn't solve the homeless problem. I mean, the list goes on and on. So, it's like now that they're facing a budget deficit, all the Democrat cities, you notice that? San Francisco deficit, Oakland deficit, Chicago deficit, New York deficit, Denver deficit, right? You get it, right? Seattle deficit, right? Portland deficit. You notice, right? All these deficits. Right? San Diego, same thing. Democrat blue-run cities. Right? I'm telling you, they don't know how to budget. They don't know how to spend. They overspend, and that's why we have these problems. They're all, if they're not woke, then they're pro-illegal immigrants, and this is what you get, right?
LA faces a budget deficit of close to $1 billion. One factor here, this year's historic wildfires.
Our Conan Nolan live in the news right now to explain how this could really impact the city. Conan.
That's right. Here's the point. If you're a resident of the city of Los Angeles, get ready to pay more for fewer services. The city is running out of money. For members of the Los Angeles City Council, particularly the newcomers, it's about to get real.
We're already not getting to a lot of the basic services that we need.
And it's only going to get worse. The city now facing a $1 billion budget shortfall. City Administrative Officer Matt Szabo says the decline in revenue stems largely because of sales tax, business tax, and hotel taxes are down considerably.
Jeez,
Projected loss for the next budget year over $300 million.
All the high cost of everything is driving people out. That's why they don't have any tax revenue in the city.
And the city is paying an exorbitant amount in lawsuits, also over $300 million.
Due to use of force cases. There's also employment cases and professional negligence cases. We've had people injured through faulty infrastructure.
The mayor and council had also agreed to $250 million in pay hikes for city workers, including police and fire. Szabo says the hike was a result of inflationary pressures.
We hope to retain police officers, firefighters, and civilian workers. We need to pay them a fair wage.
Tough choices, tough choices.
Nobody knows the situation better than former Los Angeles Mayor Antonio Villaraigosa, who navigated the city through the Great Recession in 2009, where scores of workers were furloughed for months, services cut. Villaraigosa, who gave himself a 16% pay cut at the time, says city officials should expect much of what comes next will not be popular.
I remember the pickets in front of the House. I remember people blocking my children from going to school. But, you know, I had to do it. And I had to do it because I knew that bankruptcy was not an option.
The former mayor, who's now a candidate for governor, says Los Angeles needs to jettison regulations and bureaucracy, which he says is needed to increase economic activity.
Growing investment. Addressing the fact that it's very difficult to build here. It's very difficult to invest in this town when, you know, and that's just a fact.
In the meantime, there's concern over the downward pressure on the budget, particularly because of the Palisades fire. Those properties will be valued at a different rate, probably lower than they have been in the past. That will decrease the amount of revenue from property taxes. Plus, there's pressure in terms of tariffs, says Szabo, as well as possible immigration. 40% of those who work in construction are immigrants. He says that could lead to increased pressure, that is, inflation, when it comes to rebuilding neighborhoods. I'm Conan Nolan, NBC4 News.
If they ever rebuild neighborhoods, you know, like if they ever get there to rebuild neighborhoods, because again, the bureaucracy and permits and all this other bullshit, they keep talking about. You notice that they keep talking about, oh, we got to do all this, but yet nothing's going to be done. You know, that's the sad thing, and we're just going to be stuck in mud until the top, the cream of the crop at the top, changes, and that's the governor itself. It needs to start from the top down. If that doesn't change, everybody's stuck in mud in California. Just saying. Right? So thought I'd bring that up. Pretty funny stuff. Let's see what else we got going on over here. Let's see here. I saw some other things too. I'm trying to see. Oh yeah, they did go to Boston. The ICE went to Boston and arrested like nearly 400 illegals. Look at that, 370. Let's take a look at this. Some good shit here.
Trump border czar Tom Homan in a war of words with Boston's mayor after ICE arrested nearly 400 migrants in Massachusetts. This is part of a multi-day operation involving several different agencies. Molly Lyon picks the story up. What happened, Molly, and where are we now on this side of it? Hello.
Good morning, Bill. Well, infuriated by the sanctuary city policies of Boston and many of the communities here in Massachusetts, Tom Homan, remember this promise, he promised to come to Boston. He revealed that he has now done it. That famous promise was to bring hell to this city, and he arrived last Tuesday, kicking off a 5-day operation, including multiple agencies, the FBI, ATF, U.S. Marshals, and the Drug Enforcement Agency.
In 5 days, we arrested 370 illegal aliens, the majority of them public safety threats, including murderers, child rapists, armed robbers, and TDA members. So, you know, the men and women of ICE made Boston and Massachusetts safer from the operation they did there last week. And we're going to go back again.
He also also relayed his frustrations on X, writing of numerous child rapists. Quote, ICE had to find and arrest these illegal alien rapists because Massachusetts and Boston are sanctuaries that refuse to cooperate with ICE. Homan slammed the Bay State's Democratic leadership, saying Governor Maura Healey and Boston Mayor Michelle Wu should be ashamed of supporting sanctuary policies. Healey promptly pushed back, highlighting her work as a former prosecutor, writing, Massachusetts is not a sanctuary state, and Massachusetts law enforcement regularly partners with federal agencies.
It's funny because Kamala just said the same thing, that she prosecutes transnational organizations and all that in California. So, you know, but yeah, we still have all these illegals, right? You know, during the time. So same thing with this Healy bitch here.
And federal law enforcement to keep people safe. In fact, just 2 weeks ago, the Massachusetts State Police were brought to the White House and recognized by President Trump and Attorney General Bondi for our partnership in arresting 24 members of a violent gang and fentanyl trafficking ring in Lawrence. And we also reached out to the mayor's office. The response from the city came from a spokesperson who questioned ICE actions. A spokesperson writing, we cannot confirm whether every individual was lawfully detained. We strongly urge ICE to release information on all the individuals detained in order to ensure transparency. Bill?
Okay, Molly, more to come on this. Certainly, Molly Line, thanks.
I don't see why. I just don't get why there would be pushback on arresting illegals, because one, doesn't matter if they have a criminal record of being a rapist and or selling drugs and all that. They cross the border illegally. That's still a crime, right? So that it just goes back to that. If you're illegal, you're illegal. I mean, you're out of here regardless.
Dana's got more.
And Amy Carnevale is the Massachusetts Republican chair, and you've got your work cut out for you up there, and this issue might help. And here's another thing Maura Healey said to Tom Homan, that Massachusetts isn't just doing this public safety work. We are a model for it. We are ranked as one of the safest states in the country for a reason, and we are going to stay that way. Do you get the sense that that's how people of Boston or Massachusetts feel?
No way.
Thank you, Dana. The fact of the matter is our governor and our mayor of Boston are not cooperating with ICE on detainer requests.
This is like New York. Like, Kathy Hochul is the governor, and she claims that New York is safe. But yet, all the underground crime in the subway systems to the streets, that, you know, everything that's going on, it's bad. And I don't know how they could just go around and say, oh, yeah, it's safe, but yet it's not. It's not.
And the fact that Massachusetts is far safer today than it was just 1 week ago, thanks to President Trump and Tom Homan, means that our families in Massachusetts are safer. And our progressive governor and our progressive mayor of Boston have refused to cooperate on detainer requests. So for them to talk about the fact that they intend to cooperate is just nonsense and completely false. And Massachusetts residents see that every day on the streets of Boston.
The Boston mayor, Michelle Wu, you'll say this for her, she sticks to her guns. This is what she said on Sunday.
This narrative that cities where more immigrants live are less safe is just simply not true. Our city is the safest major city in the country because we are safe for everyone, and also because we collaborate every day with the federal government. We're doing everything we can every day to keep people safe.
And yet you read some of the crimes that these illegal immigrants were accused of, and it doesn't feel like that would be somebody that you want to leave in your city.
Not at all. These criminal illegal aliens were accused of murder, rape, trafficking of drugs. And in fact, there was 44 kilos of methamphetamine, 5 kilos of fentanyl, 1 kilo of cocaine, 3 firearms seized over the weekend, along with these raids of the illegal criminal migrants. And again, these are individuals who are posing public safety threats. Nearly 400 individuals were seized over the weekend.
Wow.
And we are grateful in Massachusetts, families and citizens, that the federal government has stepped in where our progressive governor and progressive mayor have refused to do so.
This was from January, but just to give everybody a sense, just to remind you, Bill Malhusian went on a ride-along in January with ICE. Watch here.
We are targeting very violent
threats to our community.
I'm not going back to Haiti.
One of those threats is this illegal alien from Haiti.
All right.
ICE says he's a gang member with
I'll take your word
17
for it.
criminal convictions in recent years.
So, you feel me? Yo, Biden forever, bro. Thank Obama for everything that he did for me, bro.
Yeah, bro.
Amy, the other thing is that there's a report out of Massachusetts that illegals charged with horrific crimes are being released with stunningly low bail requirements. Is that all just part and parcel of what Blue wants?
Yeah, in some cases, the bail requirements are set as low as $500 or released on their own recognizance. And these are for incidences of child rape. So these are judicial officials appointed by Democratic administrations who are beholden to the far progressive left. And again, we are so thankful, the residents of Massachusetts, for this federal action because we are seeing these criminals released on the streets and offending again and again without consequence.
Amy, do you see any Democrats or maybe more independent voters coming towards the Republican side that they might change their vote next time around?
Absolutely. So in fact, 64% in Massachusetts are actually unenrolled, and we are seeing more and more unenrolled voters become Republicans. We've seen an uptick in voter registration. We saw an increase in the vote for President Trump in last November. And so we are seeing residents enroll in the Republican Party and more wanting to run for office in our municipal elections this spring.
All right, whatever. Time to move on. Let's see what else we got going on over here. Man. Martial arts teacher accused of sex assault. Dude's Asian. San Jose martial arts instructor. I wonder if it's towards a male or female. You know, that's the difference between. Well, I mean, it's wrong, but at the same time, it's gay if it's a boy or a guy versus female, you know. So sex assault. This has got to be the stupidest thing I've ever seen right here, where they removed the Tesla logo to show that they don't support, but yet you still own the Tesla. Like, okay, so you debadged the car. Oh my gosh, you know, that's such a great way to show your dissupport, your unsupportive way of not having support from Musk. I mean, that's a world-changing way of doing things, you know, even though you still own a Tesla vehicle, all right? Yeah, so don't bust me with some bullshit. Anyhow, I'm going to leave it at that. I'm not even going to go into this, but it's probably going to be entertaining to see. Well, that's not entertaining. You get what I'm saying. Let's see here. I'll just read the text here. Could be more victims to come. Okay. Let's see. Sex assault of one of his students in January. That detectives with the Internet Crimes Against Children Task Force. He was previously a behavioral therapist in the city of San Jose. Now he has a history of working with children. Okay, so it's with kids. Alright, yes, well, at least he, you know, well, he's accused. He's not even arrested, right? It says accused. Alright, man, whatever. This is the dumbest thing I've ever seen right here, you know. We'll end it with this, all right? With this stupid ass. We're going to debadge a car.
Backlash
Oh my gosh.
against Tesla continues to grow across the country, and there's been several protests at Tesla dealerships in Washington.
No,
and
if you
Oregon.
really want to show like a protest or boycott, you sell the car, you dumbasses.
In the state of Florida, a man drove his car into a crowd of protesters. No one was seriously hurt, and that driver was arrested. But it's the latest intense protests against Elon Musk as vandalism targeting Tesla vehicles continues. Drew Andre from our sister station in Seattle joins us with how Tesla owners are trying to separate themselves from the tech billionaire.
Well, of course, we see many Teslas around our
I just want to see how
area
stupid
here,
this looks.
Some of those drivers fear retaliation for just having the car. For others, they want to erase the mark that represents the billionaire. we met a man who did just that.
Fishing line, soft cloth, like it was never there.
Each T removed off a Tesla feels like a silent protest for Jordan Schwartz.
It's symbolic, but I think symbols matter. You know, it's
You
tearing
sell
down
the
a
car,
flag.
you dumb fuck.
It's raising a flag.
With a heat gun, screw gun, and fishing line, he removed his Tesla logos and has now done it for several other people too.
Gives me great pleasure and satisfaction.
Schwartz bought his
Yeah,
Tesla.
man, you're just making the world a better place, man. You're such a hero. I'm done with this shit. All right, so comment down below. Let me know what you think about all this, and subscribe. Like I said, I got YouTube, I got Rumble. Hit me up and follow and support your boy here. Thank you, and I'll see you in the next one.